Organized the way Bartlett's, the predecessor of Bartlett's familiar quotations, is organized from ancient times to the present. So it's really by birth date. So you end up having contemporaries next to each other, sort of talking things out in a way. So like Booker T. Washington and W. Du Bois, their quotes are very close to each other in proximity. So it's organized not by subject. And there's an index, though, that is very lengthy, which identifies things by subject. So you can enter the book that way as well. I had the ability to go back and look at what was obvious and what continues to be quoted, but then look at the scope of a particular speaker's life and what's most emblematic about their work, and look at words that really sort of stood the test of time and had a timeless quality to them. I did have some experts that I would send a few quotations to and say, and I thank them in my introduction from various institutions and say, what do you think about this? But for the most part, I really relied on my own good judgment. And again, doing this book in the age of the internet search was really, really helpful, because I was able to drill down a little bit if I had a doubt about whether or not if I was choosing one quotation over another, to look and I could see scholars are using it this way, or clergy are using a particular quotation. We're talking about somebody like Howard Thurman, or something is shown up on a greeting card. I mean, literally, I had much more access and than I would have if I embarked on this, 20 years ago. So technology was certainly helpful as well.
Do you include colloquialisms in your in the book? Such things as, do you contain them?
Do I use colloquialisms? A little bit. I mean, there are many very fine collections of proverbs and aphorisms and things like that. So I do include some, particularly in the anonymous sections, from different cultural standpoints. Like there's a Caribbean section, an African section, an African-American section. So there's a smattering of that. But for the most part, I was looking at more attributable quotations and then expressions that are used that could not be attributed, but are used like very commonly still present day. Because on the one hand, my task was to capture the idea of familiar and what that means, and was very much in my mind. So I had to be careful about not including things sort of because I just like them, but having a real reason behind that. So the Elizabeth Freeman quote is absolutely one that makes me feel really good, and the idea of having her in this context is a starting point for people to find out more about her, because I didn't even go through her whole life afterwards. I mean, she was really a remarkable person. Unfortunately, I'm blanking on others at the moment, but there are, yeah, I mean, that's why I put her in there, because that really was an opportunity for me to do that. I would say that some of the quotations from artists like Carrie Mae Weems, for example, who we think of as in a visual way, but text is such a central part of her work. That's part of why she's had so much impact. And by lifting the text from her artwork and quoting it, I think that I felt really good about sort of putting a stamp on her, or highlighting her intellectual rigor and her significance. So that's another example of the kinds of quotes where I felt that it was important to do that.